Hi everybody, my name is Sadat. Welcome to my channel Learn to Code, and if you haven't already, click the like button and subscribe. Okay, in this video we're going to be dealing with BrowserRouter. In React, if you want to create an app, you can either create a single page application or a multiple page application. In the case of a single page application, you do not need BrowserRouter or HashRouter or any other routing for that matter, because this has just got the one page. But when you've got multiple pages, you need some sort of routing. So today we're going to go through an example of how to use BrowserRouter. Okay, so I'm going to open my VS Code and start off, create a fresh app. So I've got everything thrown in here on my desktop, in tutorials and router tutorial. There's nothing in this folder, so let's just go from the beginning. So first of all, I'm going to click new terminal, and you can see it's empty. So first of all, we need to create the app. So we just type in npx create -react -app, and then now we give it a name. So I'll just call it router dash, I don't know, app. There you are, router app. Enter. Okay, now this takes a little while, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video, and once it's finished, I'm going to get back to it. Okay, now it's finished creating the app. So the next thing we want to do is just cd into the directory. So let's check cdr router app, and that's our app there. So before I start it with npm start, we know that we need BrowserRouter, so we might as well import React Router DOM now. So what you need to do is type in npm install and then react -router -dom and press enter. So now this is going to take a little while too, so I'm just going to pause it again and I'll be back in a sec. Finally finish downloading everything for React Router DOM. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to arrange the structure of the app. So in order to do that, we need to launch the app. So we launch it with npm start and wait for the app to load. So that should normally come up here. Let's just wait for it to load. There we are, that's the standard React app. So in order to sort the structure out, we want to click over here and go into source and app.js. So what I normally do is I'll get rid of everything between the headers. And okay, so now okay, between the headers, let's get rid of this logo also, and get rid of it from here and put it up there. Okay, so now what we want to do is, okay, so in order to use BrowserRouter, we need to create maybe 2 or 3 pages. We'll just call it home page, second page, third page, etc. We're not going to really do no CSS. We're just going to demonstrate how the pages will be routed. So on each page we can also create a component, a button component, and yeah, let's carry on with this. Okay, so what we're gonna do is create sort this structure out here. So under source, we want to create a new folder called components. Okay, and also another folder called pages. Okay, so in pages, normally what I would do, I would create another folder and say homepage, and then put the homepage.jsx file in that. But I'm just going to create a file called, say, home.js, referring to homepage. Then create another file for, say, second page, .js, that'll do. And let's just do a third one, and we'll call that third.js. Okay, so I'm not going to really create the CSS files, Okay, one other thing we can do is go back to app.js, and here we'll just temporarily put a h1 tag and just write hello world, standard hello world, and just check if everything's, and you can see everything's working. It's centered because we're using the CSS from app.css. We can delete all this if we want, don't really need it. Okay, so now you can see everything's moved, shifted to the left, so that's working. So what we can do is okay, we've created the pages, and let's just sort the first page out. In the first page we want to, what do we want to do? We just want to create a h1, and in that h1 we'll say home page, and then we want a button. But instead of creating a separate button in each page, what we can do is we can go up into components and say new file, and we can say button comp. There you are, button comp.js. And we can actually, we don't need the CSS, we're gonna just leave it plain. So we got button comp.css. In this file we can create the button, so we can say something like, what can we say? We can say button, and there we are, that's our button. Okay, and we'll just say something like, I don't know, next. Okay, so now if we go back to app.js, no sorry, app.js, home.js, and we import that button what we just created. What do we call it? Button component. Okay, b button comp, there it is. So in my version of Visual Studio Code, when I bring my component up, it automatically adds the import route. So maybe in yours, if you're following along, it won't do that, so you might have to manually put that in. So what you would do is type in import button comp from, and then when you do the speech marks, then you got to put the path in where that lies. So now we got this component. So if we go over and have a look and refresh, oh, something's not right. Okay, let's go back. Why is it not showing? Okay, so button component home page. Okay, yeah, that's because we're not on the right URL. Silly me, home. Okay, so oh yeah, how silly. Okay, now what we need to do is go to app.js and get rid of all this and import what are we importing? We're importing BrowserRouter. BrowserRouter, we can import the switch, and we need to import root, these three things, and this is coming from React router DOM. Okay, so we can also do this. Okay, so now what we want to do, the next thing is we have to get the BrowserRouter tag, BrowserRouter, open and close that tag. So now within this tag we want a switch tag, and within the switch tag we want the root. Okay, now the root is going to contain a path which is going to be equal to, say, home path, and we're going to display the following component. So the component we want to display is home.js. that's right. No, it's not. No, the component we want to display is home.js. let's try that one. So home, and there you can see the root to it where it's in pages. Okay, enter. So now if we refresh that, what's happened? Let's go back. Okay, why it's not worked is because I've not closed the tag. Okay, Now once we close this tag, it should come up. So there we are, we got home page and we got the next button showing now. Oh, that was a bit of a headache. Anyway, so we've created the first page with this component, which if we go into the component, it's just a next button. So what we want to do is we want to do something slightly different. We want to pass a prop to this button component. So we could say something like name equals what shall we call it? Okay, we want to say next button. Let's do back button for now. Back. Okay, so we're passing this prop through to the button component. So if we go to the button component, we want to destructure this, and that was name. So here we can do curly braces and just put in name. So now whatever we pass through here will be displayed on the button. So now let's just change that back to next. So next. So you should be able to see if that's changed to next. So now we can keep using this button component in each page, and we can allocate, because in the second page we're going to need 2 buttons, so we can just call this component twice. Okay, so that's the first page done. Then we go into the second page and we do the same kind of thing. We put a h1 tag and we'll say second page, and here we want 2 buttons, so we'll say button comp. Yeah, that's 1, and then we just copy again, copy and paste. Okay, so now we want a name to be equal to next on the first button, and on the second button we want the name to be called back. Okay, so now we've got 2 buttons on the second page. So now if we click onto the second page, nothing's going to happen because we need to allocate that route. So all we do is we just copy this route path, copy, and we paste it here, and this URL we will call second. Okay, so now when we go onto this URL, we will display the second component. There it is, with a capital S, and it's been imported in there as well. So now what we can do is refresh that page. Now if we throw second, okay, I've done something slightly wrong there, get rid of that, enter. Okay, why it's not working, yes I know, is because we need the exact keyword here. So now it will flick to the second page. So now we got 2 buttons, one is next and one is back. So if we go back to the first page, we want to click this button and end up on the second page, which is not happening at the moment, so we need to fix that. So in order to fix that, let's go back to the button component, and what we can do is we can import something called link. This is similar to the a tag in HTML, kind of. Okay, so we want to import this from React router DOM. So we got a link. So the next thing we want to do is call the link tag and put this button in the link. Okay, cut and paste it over here. Okay, so we've surrounded our button component with a link tag. Now we need to put in something in here. We want to link to, what do we want to link to? We want to link to, when we press this button, to whatever we pass as a prop. So so if we go back to our home page here, we can pass in another prop called to, or actually we call it link equals, so it's going to be the second, because that's where we want to send our, basically once we press the button on the home page, this is the URL we want to end up at. So that's what we're going to pass as a link through to the button component. So we go to the button component and we need to destructure that. We called it link, and here we can just type in link. So this should work now. Well, it better work. Okay, so what's happened here? Something's going on. I don't know why that stopped running, but anyway, let's start that again. Okay, here we go. So now we're on our home page. When we click this next, this should direct us to the second page, which it does. Okay, so now we've got that bit sorted. We can go into the second .js page where we've got two buttons. Now when we click the back button, we want it to go back to where? We want it to go back to the home page. So if we pass this in as a link, this should work. And then in the next button, we want to also pass in another prop going to the third one. So we're going to call that URL third. So now if we go to this, if we click back, it should go back. That's right. Click next, it's gone to the second page. And if we click next, it's not going to go nowhere because we haven't done that page. So now we need to do that page. So now we're in the third page. We're going to do a similar thing here. Create the page, and we're just going to do a same h1 tag here and call this third page. And now we only need one button, we don't need two. So we'll just call that same button comp, and we can pass in a name of, what can we call it this time? We can call it back. Okay, because we just want to go back now. So, and the link we want to send in here will be back to the second page. So that's that. Button component, something's missing. Okay, I need to import the button component. So import button comp from, and then we need to do the component button comp. There we are. So now if we have a little test run, okay, this is the home page. If we click next, we go to the second page. If we click next again, we go to the third page. And if we click back, we go back to the second page. And then if we click back, we go back to the home page. So this is the example of using BrowserRouter. Hope that makes sense. Hope you liked the video. Just leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if there's anything you want me to cover, just leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.